Jayhawks. I'm Hayden.
And I'm Andrew.
And this is JayhawkJukebox. We're coming at you with another song of the week. Now, Andrew, I gotta say, man, I'm really liking your music taste. What did you bring to the table this week?
All right, well, I brought in a song from Santana called Smooth. And when I say song of the week, I'm not kidding you. I was listening to it all week.
Really?
Oh, yeah. No, there's just something about it that it's different from anything I've heard from Santana.
Really?
And I just love it.
Well, it's one of their, I want to say it's one of their most recent hits, right? I mean, as recent as it can be. I want to say it came out like 10-ish years ago or something like. It's a kind of an older song now, I think.
Yeah.
But, you know, with Rob Thomas on the vocals on that song, it kind of bridges that gap between like pop music and rock again.
Yeah,
you know, it's really nice to have one of the most influential guitarists of the 70s and 80s, really of all time, come together with what was probably a recent musician at the time to kind of
definitely
take over the vocals for the masses. So
yeah, and I love anytime a band just gets a trumpet in there. I love it.
Oh, fair enough.
I mean,
good horn section.
Yeah, I've been playing since elementary school, so
you play trumpet?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good for you, man.
I love it. So just anytime they do it, it's just a plus in my book.
There you go, man.
Yeah, no.
It's good to hear.
Yeah, so tell us about your song.
Well, I'm repping the brand today. Had to pick a Grateful Dead song for all my dead heads out there. I picked Althea, which is, I guess, more of a newer song. It came out in '79, technically '80, with the Go to Heaven album.
Right.
You know, it's one of the best singles, I think, of their whole discography, because it is a song that I can listen to the studio version and really enjoy it much better, in my opinion, than most of the live recordings.
Yeah.
I think the studio version of that tune is better than any of the live recordings because, I don't know, man, there's just something about hearing them in a controlled environment, hearing Jerry Garcia improvise for what is probably 3 minutes on that track. I mean, he just kills it.
Oh, it was fantastic.
Adds his touch as he normally does with the band. You know, it's just good to hear. It's a great song to listen to by itself. The album as a whole is not too bad in my opinion. I think it kind of sweeps every other track on the album, if I'm being honest. But it is what it is. But yeah, Althea, just an absolute banger.
Yeah, no, and that was, I would have to say that's probably my first Grateful Dead song that I've heard. So
really,
yeah, that was a really good introduction.
I see. Yeah, it's one of the more palatable songs I've found when trying to introduce some of my friends into it, because it's not too long. You know, if you immediately dive into the 15-minute live tracks with the Grateful Dead, trying to get your friends to listen to 8 minutes or so of a dude playing guitar can kind of be hard to swallow at the beginning.
Yeah, for some people, I'm sure, but yeah, no, it was great.
All right, well, that was Song of the Week. We will be going into a nice little break after this. So yeah, thank you guys.
Welcome back to Jayhawk Jukebox. My name is Audrey, and today we have a special guest, artist, educator, and my former teacher, David Muhammad, aka Brotha Newz. So how are you? Doing good?
I'm all right. Just got off of work, and I'm glad to be here.
Heck yeah. All right. So last time you were here was, I believe, in April, and you have done a couple projects since then. You had an EP come out called Little Trees. You also had an album this summer, I believe, called Black Seed. And then last month you had another album come out called Saturdays at the Dojo. So do you want to just tell me a little bit about each project?
Yeah, I, you know, like a lot of people, I was at home for COVID, you know, with the shutdown, and I couldn't go to the studio anymore, so I learned how to record myself at home. And I reached out to a lot of people to just try to push myself outside my comfort zone, so I decided to do a bunch of collabs. And so I had all this work that I had made, and it was just a matter of kind of organizing it and putting it out. And so, like, for instance, Black Seed, that was something that got done a year and a half ago. It was just a matter of, like, getting it together and organized so that I could release it. Same with Little Trees. It was a project with artist by the name of Nikki Allen out of Chicago that we had worked on the project maybe a year ago, and I just was trying to wait to get things in order, whether that was a video or whatever else. Saturdays at the Dojo has just been a passion project that just released a couple months ago, and I'm really just enjoying this idea of dropping music whenever randomly. I have another project coming out November 5th, and I'm just gonna keep putting stuff out there.
Awesome, yeah. And so what was it like working with like a bunch of different artists? Because you worked with like 4 different artists throughout each of those projects?
Yeah, it's been unique because for all of them except one, I've never met the other artist in person.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Because COVID.
Yeah,
Makes
just
sense, yeah.
we met via social media through somebody else, and it was, okay, I'll send you this beat, and you put your work on it, then send it to me. We would jump on a phone call, but it was never like actually in the studio together. And like I said, some of them I had no prior relationship with. And so we had just mutual friends or mutual artists that we knew, and then we heard each other's work and respected each other. But it was also kind of nice because there wasn't any pressure. I didn't have a relationship, so there wasn't like an expectation of what to do or what to have come out of it. It was just enjoying the process.
Yeah.
And so I've really enjoyed that, and it's pushed me to grow as an artist as well.
Awesome, yeah. So Saturday at the Dojo, what like inspired you and the other 2 artists to make that album?
Yeah, so Saturdays at the Dojo happened by accident.
Those are the best.
That's the best. The artist, his fiance actually reached out to me because of something I had done through teaching, the Confederate flag debate that I hosted a couple years ago.
Like popping up on my For You page.
If only I could get that many views
randomly.
for my music, you know,
Yeah.
check me out. So she reached out about that and then told me that her fiance was an artist. And so I was like, oh, let me connect with him. And so we put out a song. Did a song together called Bloodsport. That's on the project.
That
was the first
song.
beat. Yeah, that's the first beat he sent me. He was like, yeah, this is what I'm thinking of. And so the song title is actually a martial arts movie from the 90s, the early 90s, late 80s, I believe. And so I was like, well, what if we just did a whole project where every song was inspired by a martial arts film? Because I'm a martial arts instructor, so I've always been a big fan of that culture. And he was with it. And so I reached out to a local Lawrence artist, actually by the name of Approach, who made the other beats. I told him what the idea was, and he knew all those movies as well. And so I was like, I want to do this movie, and I want the beat to feel like that. And he gave us the sound for that, and then we just wrote to it. And you know, it really touched upon my childhood, because these were all movies that I like stand over as a kid and would watch for hours and hours. And so it was a really fun passion project that was actually easy for me to make, because I didn't feel like I had to like go outside of my lens much.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because you had like the intro and then there are like a couple interludes that like in there. Like what were those from? Like what movies?
Yeah, so the intro is actually from a show that is now canceled, so The Cosby Show. All right, there was an episode that Theo and his friends were about to go see Saturday Kung Fu movies. There used to be this thing called Saturday Matinee, where you could go to movie theaters and watch like a bunch of cheap Kung Fu movies that were poor acting, but you love them, for like $1, and you could see like 3 or 4. And so that was a big thing that kids would do, especially late 80s, early 90s. And so there was a skit from there, and then I took the commercial for Saturday Matinee, and I put that in as well. And then the rest of it was just like sound bits from the movies themselves, and then there's some other little sound effects that we added in. So again, I had a lot of fun doing it, because to write the music, I made myself watch all those movies, so it gave me an excuse. So when I told my wife, yeah, I'm researching, I'm not just having fun. This is for a project, so
duh.
you totally understand.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, what was your favorite song on that album, if you do have one?
Yeah, I would say Tong Po. It's the song that we did a video for. The whole concept behind that was really enjoyable, and getting my karate students involved. So, you know, the video itself has students that I actually teach, that has personal friends of mine that I've trained with. And then I just like the energy of it. It was very hard hitting, and I got to be kind of aggressive. I'm not the most aggressive all the time, but
yeah, I know. I was like, this is a different side of Moo.
a little different. You know, I had to tap into that. So I really enjoyed it, and I tried to embody the villain. Tong Po was the villain from the movie, so I tried to like bring out that energy that he has, and so it was just a lot of fun. I liked all the songs, but I don't know, what was yours?
Bloodsport.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I just like loved the beat. It
Yeah.
was like, and I like got really into it. I listened to it a couple times today, like before this interview.
That was a test to see if you actually listened to it.
I
so
did.
I'm
Don't
glad,
worry.
I'm glad
Don't
that you
worry.
listened.
Don't worry. Yeah. So you kind of touched like a little bit on the process of the music video. Like, do you want to tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah,
Like,
so shout outs to John Henry. He's my friend who he shot a few other of my videos as well. And the mindset I wanted to do was like highlight these different martial arts schools that I had connections to, and try to show the diversity in what they offer. And so I wanted my community involved as well. And so I put out an invite to all of our students. I said, if you want to be in one of my music videos, come out on a Saturday, wear your karate uniform and a black face mask. And so they were all there, and I have to put my hats out to like the kids in there who were like 4 and 5. They had to stand still for like an hour just to be in the video, and that was really cool. And my daughters are in it.
yeah, I was just gonna say. I remember seeing your daughters. I was
That
like,
was
that's
really
so fun.
cool to have, even though they both threw a fit the entire
Oh,
time.
yeah, of course.
So that was beautiful. And then we shot it over several months. So, you know, we would get up in the morning and go to one gym, and then it was going to another gym another day, and he would edit in between. And then I shot my father, so that last scene is actually my father and one of his closest friends.
Oh, cool.
And so just being able to get the entire community involved was really cool. And then seeing, like, if you ever make a video, which I'm sure like with journalism or any art, when you have a vision in your mind and then it actually gets to come out in the way that you want it, it feels really good.
Yeah.
So it came out exactly how I wanted it, and I'm just really grateful to the entire community and also Jonathan Henry, who goes by Family and Muscle on Instagram,
Nice.
for supporting me in that. So
Awesome. Yeah. So I remember you like said that you have a recent project that you're working on. Do you have anything else that you're in the
no,
mix,
so
or-
I have 4 other projects that are either almost done or need a video, and it's just figuring out time to finish them and how I'm going to release them. I need to probably slow down a little bit, so I want to like get these done and then kind of stop, but that probably won't happen. I'll probably just keep going. But this project coming out November 5th is actually a teaser. It's going to be like 3 songs from an album that's going to come out in February. So I'm going to release those 3 songs early, kind of just to whet people's appetite, you know, for all my hundreds of fans, my
Yeah.
25 fans.
Yes.
And then in February we'll drop a full album, and it's also a collaboration with the artist out of San Francisco.
Awesome.
So, yeah, never met him in
Cool.
real life either.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else you want to say to the viewers before we wrap up? Maybe like, your social media or like.
Yeah, follow me,
shows?
Brotha Newz on Instagram, and also on Twitter. And I'll be performing. I perform in Lawrence every now and then, so check me out.
All right, and we're going to play his music video, Tong Po, and then right after that and after the break, we are going to have vinyl review.
Youngins cocky with their padded records. Fought a bunch of moving bodies with supporting cast. Probably need to play it smart and keep their moves measured. Where I'm from, we fight for glory while you fight for laughs. They betting dollars in the darkest alleys. Pick the wrong side, erase them like they Josh Halley. Gonna need more than ice bags and tourniquets. My bloody elbow have your girl in the stands howling. Face scowling while the dome looking Mr. Clean, bumping Billie Jean as I fling you out the stadium. Talk about the pressure, but I really can't relate to them. I'm focused on the art while you focused on gymnasiums. Your aesthetics only got you booked. Lot of promise, but you falling short like Lenny Cook. Chasing commas mean a little when you catch your hooks, leave them paralyzed from the waist down to the foot. It's only business, never personal. This tough talk can have you finding out what rehearsals do. Step in my arena, this is higher class. Leave you bloody like my fist dipped in broken glass. Train your weapons cause this battle's coming in a flash. Only see you leaving with your body lying in a casket. Step in my arena, this is higher class. Leave you bloody like my fist dipped in broken glass. Train your weapons cause this battle's coming in a flash. Only see you leaving with your body lying in a casket.
Boy, don't make me have to take it there. I come from an era where there ain't a care to to make it fair. Beware the nightmare that we can make appear. Ain't no mistake or error, so let me make it clear and let it marinate in your noodle and through your angel hair. Guarantee these people sleeping on me all awake in terror. The type to hit you with a blank stare and make you break character. Drake would be ashamed of you. Take care. Said I've connected with some sort of sorcery that forces me to trek like a force to be reckoned with. The second I'm affected, even more so be infected with a source of evil that'll course through me and checking with the specs of me. I let get the best of me that sets a little hex on me and flexes the apex in me that's met with the kind of meta vendetta. Messing with my mental makes way from the center to both sides of the spectrum, so let them know.
Step in my arena, this is higher class. Move you bloody like my fist dipped in broken glass. Train your weapons cause this battle's coming in a flash. Only see you leaving with your body lying in a cast. Step in my arena, this is higher class. Move you bloody like my fist dipped in broken glass. Train your weapons cause this battle's coming in a flash. Only see you leaving with your body lying in a cast.
You may not hear it at first, but it's there. Our chant, rising. On this summit, callings converge, voices unify into a chorus that sounds out for good, for greatness. Can you hear it?
All right, so Nathan and Nathaniel are not here this week, so today we're going to be talking about the soundtrack for Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. It's a 2010 movie directed by Edgar Wright. This soundtrack is executive produced by Nigel Godrich, I think is his name. Edgar Wright's personally my favorite director of all time, so this is one of my favorite movies. And the reason why he's my favorite is just because he has such attention to detail in every single aspect of every movie he makes, and I feel like that comes across so well in this soundtrack and the way that it's kind of incorporated in the action scenes and the way the characters interact with each other, and the soundtrack and the score mesh so well. I feel like sometimes the score and the soundtrack feel like two different entities with a lot of movies. But what did you guys think of this?
Well, I just watched the movie and I thought it was, that in and of itself was super dope because he got the cool visual special effects, but also the dope music that's backing it, because it's definitely music led the whole movie, as much as you have the cool plot and the comedy kind of cute 2010 vibe, but it was super cool. Just the whole, at least the movie part is which is super dope. What do you think?
Definitely, and well, I loved it too. This is one of my all-time favorites as well. And you could just tell, just watching it, but especially reading more up on it, how much effort the filmmakers really put to get this soundtrack to be what it is. I mean, they called in Beck to actually write the Sex Bomb songs.
Yeah.
And that Becky pavementy to me kind of attitude is really present in it. To me, there's a huge distinction between the I guess fake bands that are in the movie and the love ballads. What do you two prefer?
I think I like the songs that are actually the Sex Bomb songs that were written specifically for the movie. Because another detail I love about this movie is that all the actors in the bands had to learn the instruments.
Yeah, I saw
and
that
he specifically told Michael Cera to play worse than everyone else because it fit his character more. And I feel like it's so impressive that these songs that were written specifically for this fictional band from this graphic novel series work so well, and they're not cheesy, and if they are cheesy, it's intended to be that way. Yeah.
Well, such as the Crash and the Boys songs that are 30 seconds long, if that.
Yeah.
I really like the whole, I don't know, because the love ballads were dope too, but I think especially for the battle scenes, because that's what you're kind of expecting, that's what I expected versus the world. I thought it was definitely well crafted for sure, and it's probably my favorite was the battle ones.
I also really love the song Black Sheep that's performed by Brie Larson.
Oh,
I'm really sad that So like since the 10th anniversary was last year, they re-released new copies of this with Brie Larson's vocal version on it, and so I'm really sad that the version I have isn't that one, because I love that version so much, and I just love Brie Larson and her voice and like that character as a whole.
And I can respect Metric for wanting to have their version on the track, but I don't know. I agree with you. I very much prefer the Brie Larson version. You watched both the movie and heard the soundtrack.
Yes.
Do you have a preference?
Definitely the Brie Larson. I was like, because there's a 64-bit. Did you guys see that?
Yeah. I love that one too, honestly.
That one's dope, but I was like, out of watching the movie and then listening to the soundtrack as well, the Brie Larson one definitely stood out to me too. I was just like, I think it was just weird. I didn't know that she sang, and like it was just like mind-blowing for me at least.
She has like a few SNL skits where she like sings, and she actually has such a good voice. It's like so surprising, honestly.
Yeah.
But
now she's she's whoa. She's Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel,
Captain Marvel.
So would you say that's your favorite song off this soundtrack?
I honestly think my favorite is Threshold, which is the one at the very end when they're battling Gideon, and it's like super, like, I don't even know how to describe it because I like don't know anything about genres or anything, but it's like super like fast paced and like kind of messy in a way, and that's the one that has the 8-bit version also. I really like Garbage Truck because it's just so like stupid, and I don't know, I just love this as a whole, because I also saw that like the executive producer for this was his first cinematic work, but he also worked with like Pavement and The Strokes and like Paul McCartney and a bunch of people, and I really like The Strokes, so I feel like a lot of these songs kind of remind me of that. But
yeah, and especially with this coming out in 2010, you can tell a lot of that influence from some of these songs.
Yeah.
John, did you have a favorite song?
It was the Brie Larson one. I'm not gonna lie, the truth is I'm definitely more an R&B and like pop kind of person, so like this was like, oh, this is rock. Was it rock? Was it like, what was the genre?
I'd call it rock.
Yeah, probably
rock.
like indie rock, pop rock.
But I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Even like watching the movie, it made me like, oh, let's check this genre out. So like,
definitely.
I was super excited.
They're definitely like songs that, like, as cheesy or like soundtracky as they are, like they're definitely within the world of this movie, but I still have them on my playlist as if they're like real songs.
It's like, have you guys seen A Star Is Born?
Yeah.
And did you see Lady Gaga's Why Did You Do That when she's on SNL? That's supposed to be like a mockery song, but like I love that song. It's like super catchy, and it's like, you know, I listen to that going to the gym, low-key. I mean, like, you know,
can't blame
you.
And another thing that can't be stressed enough, we already talked about how Edgar Wright establishes soundtracks in movies. A lot of these songs are used as transitions into another scene. And like I said, they're kind of love ballady. I really like how it definitely shows the emotions of 20-somethings in a romance that they don't really see going anywhere, which is awkward, but I love it.
Yeah. I also know that like the little blurb on the back of this vinyl says that they wanted to represent like the Toronto music scene, which I don't know much about. I would love to visit Toronto, but like if this is any representation of it, then I definitely want to go even more because it's just so. And I know that like obviously these are based on graphic novels, and they wanted to kind of bring that out and represent like the video game side and like all that kind of culture and how that feels.
It accomplished
and
a
I
lot.
feel like it really accomplished that, and like I don't know, just the world building of this soundtrack is so, I'm just obsessed.
Are there any picks that you were not as fond of?
I think, I'm gonna say, because I listened to it on the way here, I think it was Garbage Truck that I was just, I'm not gonna lie.
That is blasphemy.
I was just like, all right, next song. I just knew that even watching it, the Brie Larson one was the one I knew I loved.
I think my least favorite, there's like a Rolling Stones song, it's called like Under My Thumb. I think that's my least favorite just because it's so like recognizable. But
I gotta agree with you.
To wrap it up, if we have any ratings for this album as a whole, I think I'm gonna go with like a 9.5 just because it is so good and I listen to it on a regular basis and not just as like a movie soundtrack. But if you had a rating, what would you say?
I'll let you go.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Definitely An 8.5. The extended version with Brie Larson, probably 9.5.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I'll give it a 6.
I'm
learning
It's
rock.
okay,
I'm learning
it's
that
okay.
kind of genre, so 6.
But yeah, we'll take a break and then we'll be back with This Week in History.
For students searching for a way to stay active in an outdoorsy way, the city of Lawrence has bike trails running in every direction, and with the new bike share program, we can stay in shape as we tour the sights of our beautiful city. Clinton Lake is only a short 30-minute bike ride away from Daisy Hill and has the most incredible sunset location in all of Lawrence. Walking campus may give you the KU calves, but biking can give you the KU thighs. Bike Lawrence today.
Welcome back to This Week in History. I'm Ryan.
And I'm John. In 1960, the Beatles and 2 members of Rory Storm's Hurricanes, Ringo Starr and Lou Walters, recorded a version of George Gershwin's Summertime in a studio in Hamburg, Germany. This track was the first session ever recorded that included John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr all together.
In 1965, Jimi Hendrix signed his first ever recording contract in the UK. And his deal at the time, Hendrix received $1 and 1% royalty on all of his recordings.
In 1967, the soundtrack to The Sound of Music spent its 132nd week on the UK charts, a new record.
In 1969, executive and founder of the Chess record label, Leonard Chess, died of a heart attack at 52. His label was home to familiar faces such as John Lee Hooker, Chuck Berry, the Flamingos, and Jimmy Reed.
In 1976, Stevie Wonder's Songs in the Key of Life acclaimed the #1 spot on the US album chart, featuring tracks Sir Duke, I Wish, Isn't She Lovely, became the best-selling and most acclaimed album of Wonder's career.
In 1987, the Bee Gees became the first group ever to have a UK #1 single in 3 different decades. The 60s, the 70s, and the 80s, when their hit You Win Again took the #1 spot on the charts.
In 1995, African-American jazz trumpeter Don Cherry died of liver failure at age of 58. Cherry was a pioneer of the genre of world fusion music, incorporating influences of Middle Eastern, traditional African, and Indian music.
That's all for This Week in History. Be sure to tune in next week at 4 and follow us on our socials, on Twitter at JayhawkJukebox and on our Instagram at JayhawkJukebox. Have a good evening.